What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank. Today, I'm gonna run across a scenario for you, and I want you to tell me what does it sound like, because there are some people that say history's not important. That, let it go, it's the past can't do nothing about it. Some people genuinely believe you can't learn anything from history, right? And a lot of people, most people live in the entertainment world. They live in a perpetual state of distraction, because to deal with the real world and its real stresses can be, tiresome, right? But let me run this across you and tell me, does this sound familiar? I want you to really think about it. America, right? Most powerful white Western European country in the world. America goes to Europe, right, and infiltrates itself in two of the biggest, most populous European countries, in Europe, with the largest populations of Europeans, right, on both countries. Now, they go in and they exploit the historical issues that both countries have with each other, right? They back up and prop up an actor in one country and makes him the president of the country, right? After a alleged US orchestrated or sponsored coup in that country to install an actor who has no political experience to become the president. After that, instigates a war between that country, Ukraine, and Russia, who has historically been trying to keep the Anglo-Saxon Europeans from off their borders for the better part of their entire existence, right? Then America gives the weaker country, Ukraine, weapons to fight the bigger country that has more weapons, right? But doesn't give them the weapons they need to win the war, just the weapons necessary to cause maximum mortality and damage in the war. Then both countries all of a sudden end up in a medieval trench warfare situation where hundreds of thousands of their able-bodied citizens, men, working age, construction age, the age of where men are supposed to be productive in society, forcing them in both European countries to kill each other in a battle of attrition for an undetermined amount of time. So now both countries are being totally and completely destabilized, their economies ruined, right, for the most part, their population massive decline, right, with no end in sight. Then that country, America, and the corporations that own America, all of a sudden have all the contracts to rebuild that said country, like BlackRock, who has a $400 million contract to reconstruct Ukraine that was destroyed by their best friends, the military industrial complex, who is making profit off American tax dollars, who is paying for all those bullets so that we can send it over there so that the Ukrainians and the Russian, working class, baby making class age men and women can kill each other on a massive scale. For example, in the last 2 months, 42,000 Ukrainians have died in this offensive. 42,000. That's just on the Ukrainian side, and that's just in 2 months. Can you imagine 42,000 Americans dying in any war in any amount of time? We didn't even have nothing close to that in the 20 years we fought 2 or 3 wars. But over there in 2 months, 42,000 Ukrainian white Europeans have been killed just on one side in one operation in 2 months. The fight has been going on for over a year now. And just so happens, during this offensive, all social media switches over to Africa so people won't pay attention to the carnage, the death and destruction that's happening in Europe. But while you're focused on a transgender person reading some weird book that's inappropriate and thinking that that is the main thing that we should be talking about, the white Western European powers are using the exact same playbook that they used before, and they're using it again against Europeans. So what that would say is racism is just a tool of many tools used to initiate the same playbook of divide and conquer. Because last time I checked, those Ukrainians and those Russians are technically ethically the same group. Russian-speaking people who are related historically and who are family, but yet they are now engulfed in one of the worst types of war of attrition that human beings can possibly be involved in history. It can't get no worse than this. All coerced so that Western powers and nations can send their corporations to go over there and clean it up with massive profit while destabilizing a group of Europeans who these group of Anglo-Saxon Europeans don't agree with or have conflicting interests with. Does that sound familiar? I mean, you know, going to a country, let me give you weapons, let me instigate this. Oh, you guys are messed up. Oh, okay, we can come save you. Let me go ahead and build that for you. Matter of fact, let me rebuild your economy. I got a buddy who can do it. Does that sound familiar to you? I'm just saying, is there any point in history you can think that an Anglo-Saxon or Francophone or Anglo-Saxon Francophone united group of people went into a country, exploited the historical differences in an ethnic group to divide and conquer kingdoms, nations, to destroy their civilization, destroy their military, their working age and baby making populations, while snatching some of their citizens for your own benefit, like we did. We snatched a whole bunch of Ukrainians and Russians who fled those countries based off what was happening, and we happily snagged them up and brought them into our fold, you know, to use them for workers and laborers and other things like that, and then benefit from the reconstruction of the destruction that we also paid for. So we give the bullets for the destruction, we give the missiles for the destruction, then we bring our construction companies to reconstruct what it is that we destroyed, getting paid twice, 3, 4, 5, 6 times over on the same move. Does that sound familiar to any of you guys? I'm just wondering. But if it does, let me know what it sounds like in the comment section. What other thing in history does that sound like it you know, it could be, you know, attached to, or, you know, seems like it's very similar, right? Seems very similar, same move. So history is important, right? Anyway, if you know what I'm talking about, let me know in the comment section. This is all I got to say. It's Afro Think Tank, learn something, teach something. I'm out.